understand entirely why a teenage girl would be under such pressure and then so exploited that she would feel that death is the only way out. I'm struggling to understand how a 6-year old, how so the abuse is obviously the reason, but to have suicide as an option, where does that come from?
It's the abuse, and they're the ones that end up feeling guilty. I had a family come to me a few months ago, and come to find out, the child was starting to be very reclusive. He stayed in his room with a dog. He didn't want to come out of his room. He did his homework. He went to school every day. He didn't want to eat. He was shutting down. Being an intuitive, because like Al and Natalia, I too am a psychic medium, have been all my life. And I just looked at the dad and said, "You want to fess up?" "Well, I don't know what you're talking about." Took off his ball cap, threw it down. I said, "Just say it." He said, "Fine. I'm the one doing it. I've been abusing him." And he said, "For how long?" The child was contemplating suicide because of the fear of dad. I have another family that I've been working with, and the girl, this has been going on with the girl for a number of years from her uncle. The family, now that it has come out, the family is more upset with her telling everything what's going to happen to him. We don't want the embarrassment. He doesn't need to go to jail. He was only 19 when it happened. He didn't know any better. Yeah, right. So she feels totally abandoned. She feels blamed. She feels guilty. She's being called all kinds of names. Her entire family is turning their back on her. Suicide.
Unsurprising.
Exactly. And that's why, even with a 6-year-old, when they feel mom and dad, the people they look up to, the people they trust, don't believe in them anymore, that they have failed them, nobody's going to believe what you say. Nobody's going to believe that I touched you, that I did this, that I did that, whatever the abusers tell them.
Also, with young, well, not even young girls, but women as well, it's made it just comes across to us in a way that it was our fault, that we did something.
You dressed, you deserved it. You dressed that way. You wore the makeup. You walked that way.
This, yeah. You spoke like this or whatever. So then it almost becomes like, oh no, like if I say this, then I've done something wrong. It's like, and there's a lot of times being spent actually thinking about what did I do wrong? Oh, like right. I must have done something wrong, and then trying to figure out what was the thing that you've done wrong when you haven't.
And the abuser uses that to their advantage.
Yeah,
they're going to play on that. They're going to lean on that button as hard as they can because they want you to think you brought it on. It's all your fault. They were just acting on urges.
So, I mean, did a recording a few days ago about bullying, and one of the guests was an Iranian woman. Did you say you were half Iranian, Alistair? So, in Iran at the moment, they're just shooting and killing girls or beating them up and raping them just for protesting. In India, there's a book called The Moment of Lift by Melinda Gates, and in India, they had to pass a law after sonographs were introduced to stop parents aborting girl children.
If you're to check the gender of their child anymore, sex of
So in India, if you're a girl, if you're not murdered before you're born, you're murdered within your first 3 years. If you're not murdered within your first 3 years, you're raped basically by 6 or 7 and then married off because you're a cost to the family